We know.
I got it.
I
got
heard
it.
you the
Recording
first time.
in progress.
I heard you the
6
first
months ago.
82 times that we did this.
6 months ago.
Yes.
I have to write down mail rent check because your girl forgets.
I feel you. I literally write.
Also, why don't you have Venmo? Why don't you have Venmo or PayPal? It's so stupid. It's annoying to me. I have to write out business checks for my freaking office space and mail it whatever. What can I control? I can control mailing out my check.
That's right.
Okay. Welcome back to our cognitive error series, where we are on cognitive error number 4.
Yes, ma'am.
Blaming. It is your motherfucking fault. It's your fault. I didn't do anything.
Mm-hmm.
You did.
Whenever I think of this, I think of Brene Brown when she talks about, if I'm at a party and you give me wine and then somebody spills on your white carpet, my thought is, well, you shouldn't have had white carpet. And I'm like, oh my God, if that wasn't me my whole life.
Literally, bitch. Literally. How many?
You don't realize you're operating in an error.
How many fucking relationships have you been in where it was like, or maybe heard from the person of like, well, if we blah, 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 then I wouldn't have had to go search elsewhere. And maybe it's just me because I got cheated on a lot. But you know what I'm saying? Like,
yes.
If you were like this, then this wouldn't be happening.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, what we're not going to do is fucking moralize your fucking behavior and thinking that you're doing something. Anyways, so today we're talking about blaming. Let's get into it.
Mm-hmm.
I think I do this most with Soph.
I was just going to say, you know who does it the most? Bug. He blames me for everything. I think I didn't be in the room and somehow it's my fault. I'm like, are you kidding me right now?
And I think I do it in the sense of like,
if you would just listen the first time, I wouldn't have to yell at you. That's my infamous one.
That one. And also like, if I'm trying to, I have a very big thing with timing. Timing is like a huge thing in my life,
mm-hmm.
right? And I think some of it stems from having ADHD and this perception of like, oh, they're always late, and really wanting to challenge that stereotype. Yeah. But then also my ex, you seem to be like, well, you're never on time. Your family's never on time. And kind of using it as like a shaming thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like for timing, if my timing works out, I get such a fucking like endorphin rush from it. Sure. Like I feel so good of like, I was able to work out, pack lunches, do this, do that. And I'm on time and I'm out of the office and everything worked out. Like, oh my God, I get so fucking high on that. I'm like, yeah. So sometimes I don't communicate that to Sophia and also need to recognize that she's fucking 9. Mm-hmm. So like, she's not going to follow the schedule that me as an almost 35-year-old is following.
Right.
So I need to have some grace, but I'm like, well, if it's her fault, I would have been on time. I would have been blah, blah, blah. Like for what, Mari? What are you doing that for? Are you winning? Is it a game? What's going on?
I know.
So that's how it shows up for me usually, because I feel like, again, I don't feel like this is a cognitive error I operate in a lot. I do feelings are not facts, shoulds.
Mm-hmm.
Filtering was a big one for me in the very beginning when I first started challenging them. But like those are my
catastrophizing has gotten better for me, but I still do it sometimes, and not nearly as much as I used to.
I don't think that you catastrophize. I think you fortune tell, because to me, catastrophizing is that thought process of like, I'm gonna fucking die
because I've had
I'm gonna fucking die. Like to me, that I don't think that. Well, from how long we've been friends, I think that you fortune tell or have that was one of your ones, mm-hmm. which I think that was one I did too. So this one is a bit difficult, not difficult for me, but like it's harder for me.
I think it's harder to think of examples.
Yeah. That's what I'm like trying to like do right now as we're talking. I'm like,
well, and this is like a touchy subject, but if we were to think of a really common example, unfortunately, is like a DV situation where if you went to piss me off, I went to hit you. Right? Like that's a pretty clear-cut answer, like a clear-cut example, unfortunately.
I've heard that before. Not in the sense directly like that, but of like, if you would just
or see what you made me do.
Like it was never like that. But it was very much so like if you would just listen or understand, it wouldn't get to this point.
Mm-hmm. Wouldn't it though?
it shouldn't get to this point ever.
Literally.
What?
Yes.
What? Walk away.
Mhm.
Anyways, so yeah, we could do that one if we
I
want. I can't really think of another.
The only thing I can literally think of is
like-
me blaming Bug for me yelling at him when I have to take full responsibility for the fact that I don't have to yell at him.
Let's do that one because you could flip that with anything.
Sure.
Like I didn't turn my project was late because somebody didn't give me something, so it's all their fault.
Mm-hmm.
Like you could flip it to so many scenarios where maybe
Sure.
there has to be like a group effort or a group project, like work, school.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do that one. So like we said in the last one, we're not going to go through all 7 steps anymore. We did that, I think, for the first 3 solid. So we're just going to kind of focus on steps 3 to 6. If you are struggling of what steps 3 to 6 are, go back to the first cognitive errors episode. We walk through them all and label them, and then we do an actual challenge. So let's just kind of move on with that. So what do you think your automatic negative thought is?
So would I label this as blaming in my automatic negative thought, or is it how I feel?
Give me your automatic negative thought, and then I'll tell you what it is.
That's what I'm trying to think of.
It's like, his fault that I'm yelling at him?
Yeah, like, is that what my thought would be?
Yeah,
or like he never listens, so I'm constantly yelling at him.
No,
but that's also
both.
Like
that's still but that's also blaming.
Yeah,
like blaming is still in it. Yeah, and that's the thing. So sometimes these can come up, and there can be multiple cognitive errors in one.
Because using the statement of always is an all or nothing statement. I'm not always yelling at him, and he's not always not listening.
Yeah, he should listen to me, and then I wouldn't have to act this way. So that's shoulds and blaming still. So so okay, so what is it?
If he just listened the first time, I wouldn't have to yell at him. I literally have this argument with him daily. It's embarrassing.
Girl, same.
And there I go labeling again.
I mean, I think you can replace embarrassing with it's infuriating, and I think that is a factual statement.
Yes,
it's not a feeling.
I already
that's
don't
a factual
like to
statement.
repeat myself, so when I have to do it 62 times in a morning in an hour-long situation, I am enraged.
Okay, so let's go to give me facts that prove that that's true.
What's the statement again? I'm sorry.
If he listened the first time, I wouldn't have to yell, or I wouldn't be yelling. True, but it doesn't really matter. Both are fine.
So a fact of the situation is that he does struggle to listen when I tell him to do things.
Okay.
But that doesn't back up the fact that I have to yell.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? So like, I get that. Another fact is like, I often have to repeat myself with him, period.
So you're just giving me step 5 now. Yeah.
Because there isn't a fact to state that like, there's nothing that's going to support me yelling at my kid. There isn't.
That therein lies the cognitive error, right? Yes. Like that's the purpose as to why we do this. There's no fucking facts that prove that that's true.
Yes.
Nobody's behavior dictates how your behavior is.
Yep.
You choose how you want to react to someone.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no facts that support that.
Yes.
So none.
Yes.
Big O none. And I'm getting reality, this. Yeah.
I'm choosing to allow my frustration to create this issue where I then feel like I need to yell so I am heard, when in reality, if you're yelling at me, I'm not listening to you.
Yes.
Because you're yelling. Don't talk to me like that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So time, situations, and examples that prove this thought isn't true 100% of the time. I often have to repeat myself multiple times regardless.
Yep. Another fact is yelling does not make him listen.
Yeah.
He shuts down. And then I know he's not hearing me.
Yeah. So yelling doesn't get my point across.
Yep.
Okay.
I would say yelling tends to make it worse.
Yelling makes